Okay, we'll try and pick up quickly on the early childhood, and the story will center around a story. I'd happened to visit with Laura last night, and she indicated that she was very interested in learning more about our time there and what it was like. So, and that was what I had planned. So first of all, I'll make it simple. You have to understand the layout of Story. You drove through the main gate off the road, dropped down 30 or 40 yards, and to the left was our cabin and the Williams cabin. To the right, tucked away in the pines, with a nice, intriguing path, was the outhouse. And this is reminiscent of one of Rebecca's endeavors and our conversations. At any rate, once you got in to our group of cabins, the two cabins, and then there was a path that led north. Now, north would be towards the river, and right behind the river was a foothill, fairly steep, comes right down to the river, and that land was undeveloped, and in fact at that time belonged to my dad's sister, Bun Bent. Now, as you went down the path, the first thing you did when you went by the house, was walk by the sundial. Now, there are pictures of the sundial, there's pictures of the cabin, and as Laura suggested, we need to incorporate those into the story so that you have a visual as well as my feeble attempt to describe this lovely place. You went on down the path, probably another 50 yards from our house, and to the left was a shed, and that was the quote, tool shed, coal shed, and I could say it, outhouse shed. And it was sort of the public shed. My grandfather, Davis, kept all of his tools in there, which would be basically yard tools, shovels, rakes, etc., plus coal. And so we walked by that, and then you came to a little decline in the path, and you dropped down, not far, 15 feet maybe, on a gentle slope, and then you were at the main cabin, which was the grandparents', the one that was on the river. Now, that cabin was a real cabin. Even in the 30s, it was as close to a home as you could get. It had several bedrooms. It had indoor plumbing. It had a nice big living room, dining room, kitchen. The kitchen was, of course, there wasn't anything to cook on other than a coal stove, which could be banked with coal, and which served for everything. The grandparents, Nana and Baba's rooms in the back were right above the creek, literally. The foundation went down into the water level, and so the river ran by. And it was, I have to say, truly delightful experience to be invited down for the night, because you could open the window in the summer and all you heard was Piney Creek. Well, descriptions are minus, but I heard the term last night on television about rivers that sing. Well, it certainly sang, and it was, just marvelous to sleep to. Now, then, when you left their cabin and walked down to the creek, to do so, you crossed a small creek, which was 6 feet across. This creek cut across the property, which jetted out at that point, and we always referred to it as the island, and simply because it was surrounded by water. There were 2 bridges that cut over the little creek. The first bridge next to the big house was equipped with benches on the sides and required only that we set a table in the middle, anchored it, and we had outdoor picnic over the creek. And this occurrence always happened on the 4th of July. Every 4th of July we ate our big meal, which was prepared in a little shanty just above the little creek, which would have been west of the house. And it was interesting design. I should really, if I can't find a picture, I should draw it out, because it was really neat. The sides folded down halfway and were on a chain, so that when you lowered the side, the chain stopped it. In effect, you created a table, a work area. The inside of the shanty was, I think there were 2 stoves in there. Again, coal stove, wood stoves. But that's where our holiday meals were prepared. And it was, hard to describe how cool it was. Running from the road towards the creek was a rock wall, which was, I think, about 4 feet high. and was composed of all the rocks that they used to clear the yard around the main cabin. Behind, well, to the closest to our cabin, which would be, again, that would be south, at the end of that rock wall and behind it was a little wooden deck, I'd say 6 feet by 6 feet, that was about a foot off the ground, built out of logs and then finished with regular lumber. And surrounding that was the pile, and that was where the wood was cut. But that particular deck was the source of umpteen, hundreds of hours of entertainment. Both my cousin Bud and I used that as a workbench, and we made things. We carved things, we built things, we did everything there. Remember, we're only up the hill a little ways, and you're at the work shed, and so the tools were close at hand. No, there were no restrictions on, and no overseers on what we were doing. So we accordingly smashed an appropriate number of fingers and thumbs for little kids. But we built everything, and it was wartime, so we always built with a war theme. And I think at 12 minutes, I think it's time to stop. Maybe I'll add one more minute and say that to the east of the main cabin, again, up the gentle slope, was where the cars were parked. And there was that was the end of the circular drive when you drove from the main road. And in that area was a car shed, literally open, just a carport. Didn't have anything, any other function really. But alongside that, and right next to the circular portion of the turnaround, were horseshoes. Complete outfit for horseshoes. And again, umpteen hours of learning to throw the horseshoes. So with that, I've kind of got a description for you, and then I'll quit, and we'll pick up again and talk about some of the other things that went along with Story, because that was literally home to me out of school hours from the first grade, well, from the war, starting around 41, after the Japanese attacked, clear up to and into my high school years. Every summer was spent out there, and that gives you an inkling of how I grew up and how I lived, and what a wonderful time. So, time to stop. Bye.